Welcome back to Rhythm Section Live, proudly sponsored by Collision Drumsticks. Here, we don't just talk drums, we dive deep into the culture, the history, and the personal journeys that brought our guests to the world stage. We have some incredible conversations lined up for you. To keep up with our latest videos, tour dates, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Don't forget to like this video and join the conversation in the comments below. Joining us today is the one and only Caryn Feder.
Thank you for joining me, Caryn. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
You started teaching percussion at just 12 years old. Looking back, how did stepping into a leadership role at such a young age shape your own relationship with your instrument and your personal identity as a musician?
I mean, just when you're young and you're passionate about your instrument, you want to share it, you're excited about it. And I was drumming in this big band uh, for New Jersey Workshop for the Arts, which back then that was pre-COVID. They've since moved to a uh, less center of town location. They're still kind of in the center of town, but not on the main drag there anymore. And it's a smaller building. But at the time when I was 12, they were dead center of Westfield, New Jersey, and they had been there since I think he opened that location somewhere in the 70s. And so I was playing in the big band, and then one day, the director, Ted Schlossberg, he approached me and said, "Hey, I got this young kid. He wants to do snare drum and bells." And I said, "Bring it on." And that was my first job, very first job at 12 years old. Yeah.
Okay. So is he still playing, or do you keep in contact with him still?
No, there are some students that, have reached out to me because I've been at this obviously for a long time now. I'm about to turn 40. Um, but no, I don't know what that particular student is up to. I hope he's still playing.
So you are explicitly carrying the torch for the Drum Summit, a group deeply rooted in the lineage of your mentors, the legendary Dom Famulero and Mr. Rhythm Sam Ulano. What is the most profound piece of wisdom or philosophy they passed down to you that you still carry to your clinics and classrooms today?
So the Drum Summit was founded by three guys. Peter Greco's still alive and kicking. He's not really doing clinics anymore, but he has a fabulous studio. If you're near the Huntington, New York, Long Island location, definitely encourage you go check out Papa Peter. The other two founding members, unfortunately, are no longer with us. Lou Gervey, who was the drum department manager at the Huntington store of Sam Ash. We were running around Sam Ash's, and Sam Ash isn't a thing anymore. But we were running around Sam Ash's in the tri-state area. They went out to Connecticut and Pennsylvania, a bunch of stores in New York, a bunch of stores in New Jersey. And Lou studied with Henry Adler. Lou studied with Joe Morello. And he was a walking encyclopedia. Anything about gear, he knew. What drum heads or anything, pedals, whatever. He knew all about it. If you had a question about what should I buy, he was the guy. And he had phenomenal brush technique. There's stuff on YouTube. You can go check out Lou. The other founder of the Drum Summit, who passes, mentor, friend, teacher, fellow clinician, Dom Famularo, drumming's global ambassador. And you mentioned Sam Ulano. Sam came in later on. We did a couple of clinics with him in the Drum Summit in New York. And he was one of my teachers as well. Phenomenal, wrote more drum books than anyone. Way more than, everybody thinks of Joel Rothman. Joel actually studied with Sam, as did a lot of successful drummers. And I had the opportunity to work with him like the last 2-ish years of his life.
You just released your 9th album, Inside My Head, this June, and you dropped your music video for the song Slip, which I've watched a few times. With 9 records under your belt, how has your songwriting process evolved, and what part of your mental or emotional landscape are you exploring in this new album?
So I started writing music like the end of middle school, and I started recording in high school, and I had a band called Falling Stars all throughout all 4 years of high school, and we put out 2 records. First recorded record ever was Majestic Tranquility. Then later on we did Running, Pacing, and Learning to Crawl. Um, I then had a band, Frankenstein's Alibi, in college during my undergrad. I was at TCNJ doing a music ed degree. And then the rest of the stuff is under me, is under Caryn Feder. And the writing process, there was a tune for this record that I told a friend, Chuck McNally, who he's out in Long Island. He's a buddy of mine. He's playing with Hollow Isles, which is a original hardcore band, and he also plays guitar with a couple other of my Long Island buddies in a tribute band called the MySpace Band. Um, I was like, Chuck, I want to like do something kind of like in the ska vein, whatever. And it was something new, different genre that I don't typically write in. And he threw me a chord progression, and just boom, the lyrics came and everything came together. So that was a fun experience, being able to write with people, because since Frankenstein's Alibi stopped, I've really just been writing kind of alone, and there's a bunch of tracks. There's a song a couple albums ago called Out of My Head that I play every instrument on, even the trumpet, and there's another track, I think the album before that, called Waves, that I even fooled around and did some violin on, like I was really doing a lot of stuff on my own, and it was really fun to come together. There was some other folks from Long Island that was on the track. It's called Joyride, that's on this album, that Chuck came up with the chord progression. There's my buddy Dylan Stark, who plays guitar on that track. Uh, Joe Porcelli, trumpet, five Towns College people that I've managed to stay in touch with. I did my master's out there. And another one of our friends, Phil Montalbano, played bass on the track. So just being able to like work with friends on this record. There's another phenomenal guitar player, a close friend of mine, Alex D'Onofrio. He uh did the recording of 3 of the tracks on this album at his place in his home studio, and he also played guitar on some of it and bass on some of it. There's a great keyboard track that he put down. So it's been really fun for me for this project to be able to work with friends.
So, your musical life beautifully spans multiple worlds, from Carnegie Hall with Matthew West and off Broadway pits to leading the Children's Bell and Vocal Choir for Father's Day. How does your work on the worship team and your current pursuit of a doctorate in biblical studies feed back into your creative life behind the drum kit?
I'm going on interviews right now because I am not returning to the school district that I was at all this school year. And I recently was on an interview, and they asked, okay, you got a bachelor's in music ed, you got a master's in music performance. Why are you doing a PhD in biblical studies? And my simple answer was, seek first the kingdom of God, So you gotta put first thing first. I think I've spent a lot of time on music. I'm still spending a lot of time on music. I got a number of gigs coming up this month. July just started. I got a few things lined up already. And I think it's really important, and it helps keep my head on straight, because a lot happens in life. We're only human, and we can only handle so much and be in charge of so much. And I think it's just really a good thing to be involved with.
Yes. Do you have any new job leads where you're going to?
I'm still hacking away. I got a phone call earlier today to most of my career, I was teaching music in schools. I started that in 2008, full-time music teacher, and a lot of my jobs was general music, vocal music. I tend to like general music jobs better because not everybody wants to sing, just like not everybody wants to pick up a saxophone. With those general music programs in school, it allows you to do a lot of things. You can get into the reading, you can get into the history, you can play them different genres and make it a music appreciation thing. General music program it's more widespread, so I feel like I can reach those hundreds of kids that they throw at you easier, as opposed to just telling them, okay, guys, we're going to sing, like not everybody's going to be
Right.
into that. But since COVID, I have 5 certs. Besides music, I have an English cert, an elementary cert, special ed cert, and supervisor cert. So since COVID, thank God, I had a special ed, it's called Teacher Students with Disabilities here in New Jersey. I had that in my back pocket because I was a music teacher briefly at a school for emotionally disturbed kids that essentially got kicked out of their uh, home school districts. And the way that the state worked back then, this was pre-COVID, this was, I don't know, 2010, 2013, something like that. Um, if you worked with that sort of student population for long enough, they were like, okay, here you go. Here's your preliminary special ed cert. And thank God I had that in my back pocket because that's what kept me afloat. During COVID, nobody cared about a music teacher. They're like, okay, we got these kids on a screen. We need them to pass these state tests or whatever. So that saved me, and I've primarily been working special ed jobs since. I just recently finished the coursework required to make that sort of standard. Um, there were a couple other jobs that I utilized other certs. There was one year during COVID that I used the elementary cert to be a science teacher and
Mm.
wearing a bunch of hats. And the year before this one, I used the English cert and I did an English year. But yeah, it's really a demand for special ed, and that the way that things are, that's not going away. If anything, there's going to be more of a demand, it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm doing a lot of these interviews, and there's a large percentage of the drummers who talk about how they struggled to focus in school, and one
Mhm.
parent or another got them into drumming, and it helped exert that energy and focus and things like that. So it's nice to hear that parents are using those outlets instead of just being frustrated with their kid. They're trying to find outlets for that energy and to focus it. I think since COVID, we are seeing more of an upswing in the need for more special education or one-on-one education, things like that.
My beef with that, honestly, is that they try to throw too many of these students with IEPs into gen ed classes. And it's kind of ironic that I'm bringing that up because that's primarily been most of my jobs is what they call inclusion, you know. But for whatever reason, whether it's save budget thing or save space thing, some of these kids, I really do feel like they'd be better served in smaller groups.
I
Well,
think it's also lack of support in the schools. There's only so many people that can work and help kids, and putting them in those big classrooms is out of necessity instead of being able to serve
what's
them in small groups.
What's
Yeah.
best, yeah, because I think legally the most that they can throw in a gen ed class is like 10, and that's a lot for one person, especially if
Yes.
there's no paras. I just came from a district that really there were no paraprofessionals, there were no aides, so, in an inclusion setting, it was you as a special ed teacher and then your gen ed teacher, and you got like 23 kids in the room, so.
So you recently shared the stage for the Drum Summit Clinic at Garden State Drums with Van Remain, who has backed everyone from Steve Morris to Enrique Iglesias and Bad Bunny. When you're putting together a clinic for the modern drumming community, what is the core message or feeling you want the audience to walk away with?
That was freaking cool.
I bet.
Yeah, it was such a success and I was just so very happy. You know, um, so Dom put out a thing. I forget if it was in Modern Drummer. It was all over the place, and I saw it being put up for Performing Arts at PAS about how he wanted his students to prove him right, and to keep pushing drum education forward and everything. So I took that challenge very seriously, and also too with Lou's passing and everything. Um, there wasn't a lot of drum clinics going on, in the tri-state, I feel, since, Lou's passing, because Lou had a ton of drum clinics just always going on at the Huntington Sand Mash out in Long Island, and, you know, I I found this spot. I did a couple of drum summits, just me and one other clinician. I had Rob Mitzner come and do one in this spot in Dunellen, New Jersey. I was using. I had Alex Cohen come and do one with me, and then this opportunity arose. At Garden State Drums and Percussion. George Rigney opened this shop, and it's literally like the next town over from me. It's in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. It's a great location. It's right on Route 22. And I was talking, hey, why don't we do something? Why don't we do a clinic? Why don't we do something? And he was aware of I was getting the drum summit up and running again. Because we did his store when he was the drum department. He was with Sam Ash for a long time. He worked for a number of years at the Paramus, New Jersey location, and then he was at the Springfield store on 22, a little further down 22 for a long time. And they closed shop. He was brilliant because they were like, okay, if there's anything, building wise, building material of the store that you'll want, come and get it, because otherwise it's getting dumped. So he got these great racks. If you go into the store, they got these great racks that save space. Beautiful display of drum sets. And he always talks about the soundproof wall that he got there for lessons. And it used to be like this wooden Taylor Guitars wall that he just grabbed, and it looks great in the store. So it looks great, and it's also kind of historical, in that sense that he has
Mhm.
stuff from that Sam Ash that he was able to get. And yeah, so we figured out this clinic. Van happened to be around, and George has wanted him to do a clinic for some time now, and everything just lined up beautifully. Because Van was here, there, and everywhere. I would be talking to him one day. Oh, I'm in this part of Mexico. Oh, I'm in Poland. And so we got the time to line up just right, and the place was packed. The place was totally packed. We had even known, respected drummers in the industry in the audience, and I was floored. I was so happy that they came out for me and Van and to support and everything. Um, Joe Bergamini was there, another student of Dom's. Um, Ray Levere, who else? Tracy, that was just in Modern Drummer with her dream kit. She's on that Drummer Girls big Facebook page a lot. So yeah, it was exciting and it was packed, and I'm glad that it was a big hit. We got a lot of people in the store because it was in an event space that was like literally in the same shopping mall as the store. So you just walked right down, and we had like an after party in the store, and you know, I hope George sold a whole ton of stuff. So
Yeah.
just everybody's happy.
So what did you focus on in this clinic?
My album, I made it the album release party as well as a big drum summit clinic, and the album was released, and I had physical copies. It's not available digitally yet. I'm kind of having to tweak things with my distributor. There's stuff that I want available from previous records and stuff, and I want that cleaned up, and then we'll make this new stuff available. But for right now, people can reach out to me, social media avenues or email or whatever, and I've just been either meeting up with people or mailing out physical copy CDs, but it will get there. It will be available. I'm gonna be also adding a button like I have for my other albums onto the CarynFeder.com/products.html site to get this new album available on the website, and then from there, distribution on the normal platforms, music platforms.
So they can buy your record on CarynFeder.com. That's where
I'm
the
working on
people
that. For
look.
right now, they can reach out to me, and we'll send out copies. Yeah.
Okay. And they should reach out to you where? Just so people that are listening would know.
Facebook, Instagram, you can email me, CarynFederMusic@gmail.com. Yeah.
So you spent years helping high school drumlines and pits achieve top honors, including Hunterdon Central recent success in the Ludwig Musser Cup. What is your secret to motivating young ensembles to achieve elite percussion while still keeping the joy of rhythm alive?
I like them to listen, right? Because people come into I've worked with drum lines too. For the past 4 years, I was with a pit though, the non-marching percussionists in the marching band that are right up front. And it's like, oh great, we're gonna be in a marching band, bash, 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 bash. And it's like, well, let's understand what we're playing. We covered a lot of different kinds of styles and types of music in the last 4 years with that group, and I would, try to make it a point, whether it was classical music or whether it was, we had, like, a show that had some Elton John thing in it. Go back, listen to the original recording, notice the instrumentation, notice the rhythms, notice how things are either solo or layered, and, just try to bring a sense of, what it was originally taken from into the show and really understand, this is what this is based off of.
Okay. I think them listening to those melodies and things like that must really help playing them live. I try to do that when I'm soloing, and incorporating melodies into rhythm is really cool. It's a cool aspect.
Absolutely, yeah, I mean, I remember Five Town studying with, Brian Carrot, he's a great vibraphone player, also a very great drummer, and, he was having me work out of, this John Riley book that had a whole bunch of Max Roach stuff in it, and, thinking about soloing melodically.
Right. So you have some really cool gigs coming up. What are they?
Yeah, so today's the 2nd, so that means in 2 days is the 4th, so I am doing 2 parades in 1 day, and it's supposed to be like 100 degrees outside, so pray that I
Yeah.
don't, like, fall over. I'm playing, the Ridgefield Park Parade, which is a big parade in Jersey, it's more North Jersey. I think that's a 10 a.m. start, something like that, and, maybe it's 11, around there. And then after that, I'm hiking up to Cornwall, New York, and, doing that parade as well. I think that's around a 4 o'clock-ish start. So that will be a busy day for me. I'm, marching snare drum, and, we'll have one of those, fan spray bottles with me and a bottle of water pocket and, hope for the best.
Hopefully you stay standing through all that.
I'm a multi-instrumentalist, I talked about the albums and stuff that I have. I got 9 albums out. I am going to be playing this, church picnic out in Long Island, my first, real church that I was involved in. I still go up there for special things like this. It's, Grace Christian Church in, Mineola, Assembly of God, and, we have a free picnic. I'm playing for service as well as the, not picnic, what is it? Barbecue. I'm playing for service. Service is at 10, a.m. July 12th, and then obviously a Sunday, and then free barbecue afterwards. Everybody's welcome to come out. Free food, free music. It's gonna be a good time. The barbecue starts at 12:30, and we'll probably wrap up around 2, 3 o'clock. But yeah, I'm gonna do your contemporary Christian, kind of pop rock sort of music, stuff that you hear on Star or what is it? Kiss, I think is the other one. Um, so that sort of stuff, that sort of like rock, worship music, and probably throw in, at least one of my, originals on this new album. There's a song, um, from my new album Inside My Head called, Thank You God, which is the last track on the record, and, probably play that out as well.
That's great. Is that one on YouTube as well?
Not yet.
I always tell my students to try to play in the youth band at church because I think it's foundationally for a young musician, it is one of the best things that you can do to get playing with other musicians and get going. I love playing in church band and also encouraging young people to do that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually, the beginning, I think it's that first week in August, the church here in Jersey that I'm at, Agape in Plainfield, it's another Assembly of God church. We are for the first time ever going to be offering a music camp. It's gonna
Oh,
run,
that's
I
great.
think, yeah, music ministry. It's 5 to 6:30, I wanna say, starting that week of August 3rd. So if anybody's interested in that, they could reach out to the church, get more information. But yeah, I've been playing, usually I'm on guitar for the worship team, and sometimes, our drummer is out, so I'll step up and I'll drum too. That's always fun. And then for the last, I want to say 2-ish years, I've been in charge of the children's music ministry. We just did a big show for Father's Day. They sang one piece. We also ordered handbells. They're doing handbell stuff. So, I get to conduct that or play keyboard for them while they're singing and stuff. And it's a good time. The handbell portion of it, I was really geared up to do because it's almost like a mini percussion ensemble, and
Right.
so they're
Yeah.
they're responsible for rhythm when I cue them to play, and they're responsible for their note, and they're hearing how, they're fitting in with other inside an ensemble with other musicians, and they're practicing watching a conductor so that, when they get to that fourth grade band, a lot of them aren't that old yet. They're not up to fourth grade, but when they get there, they're gonna have some experience watching a conductor and getting cued, so everything translates.
Right. To wrap things up, you're endorsed by some fantastic brands, and Collision Drumsticks is one. In a world full of standard gear choices, what was it about the Collision community, the feel and the vision of Collision Drumsticks that made you want to partner with them and officially represent them as an artist?
Oh, other side. I can't
Hey, I
really
want that
orientation.
hat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Collision has been so great about supporting these drum summits that I've been doing. They sent me stuff for, the Rob Mitzner and the Alex Cohen and the Van Romain clinic with me, all three of those clinics. And I hope that, and I think that they will keep supporting the Drum Summit. And that's just so great because, I mean, I remember when I was first starting to check out what Lou Gervy was doing out in Long Island, they'd always be giving away stuff, sticks and cymbals and t-shirts and whatever else. And it just, it amps the excitement. And then, you get a hat or a shirt or whatever, and it's like, oh well, I wonder what how these sticks feel or how this cymbal sounds, or and it helps to kind of perk that interest, I think, in the brand. So it really works out well, I think, for everybody involved. The audience walks away with, ooh, looky what I got, and we as artists are able to share excitement for the stuff that we use on a regular basis. The other thing about Collision, I'll tell you too, it was funny because I ordered sticks, and Carlton was like, Oh, I sent you sticks, but I didn't send you the black finish because your logo looks so freaking good on the the regular, finished stick. I gotta give a shout out to my buddy, Chris Kennedy. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook. He is my graphic designer, and that my logo, the Caryn Feder Holy Spirit uh logo, where it's like angel wings with the sticks and the halo, but the halo could also be like a drum sort of thing. He helped me with that, and it's on my collision drumsticks. It's also on my soul tone cymbals. So got to give Chris a shout out. And then the other thing about collision, I recently posted on my socials. I judged for this year's 2026 Guitar Center Drum Off, which they hadn't done that thing in I think 5-10 years. So it's a big deal
Oh,
that it's
okay.
back. And I'm standing in the picture next to Donnie, the drum department manager over there, and I'm proudly holding my collision drumsticks. And to me, that was very important because they're not in the Guitar Center shops yet, So
Yeah,
like bridging those gaps, even with Soul Tone, I'm very proud and excited to say that Soul Tone is going to be carried in George Rigney's Garden State Percussion shop, and there's really not a lot of places that you can actually physically hold those cymbals and hit those cymbals and stuff. And I think it's just so important to be, getting the artists and um the brick and mortar shops and the companies all together, working together and putting that stuff out there for people to play and enjoy.
absolutely. That's absolutely correct. Yes. And I'm trying to do the same thing on my end for collision as well. So
Yeah.
we have to represent them in the United States, and then maybe more people will know about them.
Yeah, because I mean, they last. Those things last. You're
Yes.
you're not gonna break those easily. You're not. You might need a chainsaw to break those things. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.